My name is Mrs. Zeke. I am the Southeast English teacher in Kansas City Public Schools, and I'm excited to be here with you today. We are going to be building on our previous few episodes' knowledge on the ancient China's history by adding some more English-driven objectives for the day, specifically around the significance of identity in a narrative text. I'm so excited for you all to be practicing along with me today. Today, you will just need your listening ears. I'm going to share a story. We're going to be talking about what elements of that story relate to the identity of the narrator, and then who is this potential speaker of this story. So first, let's talk about the significance of identity. By now in your career, you have written and read many narrative stories along your way, and you're realizing that the significance of the identity of the narrator is crucial. I want to start with looking at the standard. For the 6th grade, and there's an equivalent for 5th, we're looking at the Missouri Standard RL2B, which states, explain how an author develops the point of view of a narrator or speaker in a text. So how the author develops a point of view of the narrator or speaker in a text. That's exactly what we're going to be looking at today with this Chinese story. I want you to be asking yourself as you read any narrative, who is speaking and what do we know about them? Something that can be difficult for students to understand is that there is a character or 2 or 5 who will be literally speaking throughout the story, but there's also a speaker who is telling the story. And that's what we're going to differentiate between today. Don't forget, I know you know this, but I just want to set this reminder. There are 3 major points of view that we look at when reading a narrative text. First person, which is I, second person, which is you, and third person, which is he, she, they, and them. This is significant because the author uses a specific point of view intentionally. Do we want first person, which brings us right into the character's thoughts? Do we want second person as more of an outsider, or third, maybe even farther outside, looking into the story itself and sharing from a third person point of view? So let's give this a try. As we read this story about Nian, I want you to be thinking about those questions. Who is the speaker and what do we know about them? And what point of view is the author writing this story in? Are you ready? All right, get those listening ears ready. You can find the story here on the website if you so choose to go back and look at it. A long time ago, there was a monster named Nian. Nian loved to visit a little village in China each year and scare everybody he saw. He thought that was great fun. He liked to do this just as the new year began to remind people that Nian was still around. Each year, after scaring all the people, he could hardly wait for the new year to roll around so that he could scare them again. This probably would have gone on forever. But one day, just by luck, one of the villagers was wearing a red tunic. Red. When Nian jumped out to scare him, Nian took one look at the red tunic and ran away. He startled the villager so much that the villager dropped a heavy metal bucket he had been carrying. The bucket bounced down the hill behind Nian, hitting every rock in its path. It made a horrible noise. Nian looked fearfully over his shoulder and began running even faster. The villager told everyone of his fabulous luck. This red tunic had scared Nian. The noise of the bucket had sent him running away. This was good news. All year long, the villagers prepared. When Nian appeared the following year, everyone in the village ran for the red banners and the loud rattles they had made. They shook their rattles and waved their banners, and Nian ran away. The villagers never saw him again. That's why people in China believe the color red signifies luck, and why all the children and many adults shake rattles and light firecrackers and make all kinds of noise on the Chinese New Year's Eve. It's to scare evil spirits, even Nian, just in case he's still around. Thinking about our story, thinking about our speaker and his identity in this narrative, can you answer these questions? How does the author develop the point of view of the narrator in the text? Who is speaking and what do they know about them? And is it the first, second, or third point of view? Think about these questions. I want to start here. Who's our speaker? Who do we learn about throughout this story? If you said the villager, you are right. If you said Nian, you are also right. There are two narrators, there are two speakers in this narrative. Both of them, we as the readers find out through third person point of view. So third person is important here. Outsider looking in. This happened many, many years ago. This is the reason why the Chinese New Year exists and why the color red is such a prominent fixture in the celebration of the new year. The speaker's point of view is developed through this storytelling technique. So we learn about Nian, this monster who likes to scare, and the reason why he's not there anymore. The villager scared him with the red and then dropped a bucket, which scared and chased off the Nian. But we also learn about the villager. What do we know about the villager? Well, he ends up being a hero, even if it was by luck. He liked to wear red, and he was carrying heavy buckets that he accidentally threw down a hill towards Nian, which helped save everybody and start this tradition. So the villager's luck has made him a hero for years to come. So when we go back to our question from the standard, how does the author develop this point of view? It's through the storytelling technique in third person, figuring out why a tradition exists, where the story comes from, and then using Nian and the villager to help develop this story into something that hopefully we'll remember for a long time. So what can you do with this information? Apply it to your own English classes. As you read a narrative text, think about these three questions: point of view, speaker, and how the author develops it throughout the text. This will help you really focus in on who's telling the story and why. That's all I have for you today on KCTV. My name is Mrs. Zeke, and I look forward to seeing you next week.